Hello guys, and welcome to Zimaleta, and welcome to my new channel. Guys, this channel is going to be about restoring salvage cars and selling the salvage car parts that you cannot use yourself. In this video, I will actually tell you some of the strategies that you could use to actually make money from car parts and no money wasted. That is, all your damaged parts, you're actually gonna make money on that, and you're gonna make money on the new parts. I will tell you where to get the parts cheaply, how to price your parts, and how to better sell them. So anyways, for the past year, I've been trying to learn about this business, and I've been slowly kind of like doing it, and I've been strategizing, because when you're trying to actually sell cars and make money from salvage cars, the best way to go about it usually is to buy another car and use the parts from it to actually fix your car. But in a lot of those situations, when you actually do that, well, you're left with another pretty much half a car, I guess, and a bunch of damaged parts, and you're kind of like wondering, what can I do with all these parts? Well, the wise decision would be is actually to sell those parts and actually make money, including your damaged parts. So let's begin. Let's say you actually bought a car at the auction because your intention is to buy a car, maybe of your dreams, maybe you want to, quick flip it, and you go ahead and actually buy yourself a salvage car, and it's damaged. Let's say it's got like front end damage, and you're kind of thinking, you know what? You priced out all the parts locally at the junkyard, and you're like thinking, you know what? It's gonna be a lot of money. Like it could be like $1,500 in parts, or maybe it could be more. And then by the time you calculate everything, maybe you got the car for $1,500, $1,500 in parts, but the car's only worth about $5,000, and plus you got to put the work into it. So you're gonna be profiting about $2,000. That's your work not included, and you never know, you might need some painting and some other stuff. So basically, you make a choice. Instead of spending $1,500 in parts, instead, you bought another car just like this one, but maybe it's got rear end damage or side damage, so that you can actually use up your front end from that car, and you install everything. But then you quickly realize you have a lot of damaged parts, and you're like, what to do with all these parts? Should I take it to the metal yard or whatever? Don't do that. Take all those damaged parts, stick them in your truck or van, and go straight to LKQ, pick a part. They charge core fees for things like fenders, doors, hoods. The lights, they don't charge core fees, and some of them, they don't charge bumper, type of fees. You will quickly realize you'll save a lot of money off those parts. So you're probably wondering, if I'm going to do that, why didn't I do that in the first place? Why didn't I just go there to LKQ to try to, pick up those parts? Well, you know what? You can. But then it would not be fun, because you would not have all these extra parts now that you could actually sell. Not to mention, you would not have the rest of the half a car to sell. So you just now replaced all those parts in your car with good painted parts, possibly the same color from your car, and you don't need to paint them. So that's going to be, time saved on your end. Plus, you will replace with quality parts, with original OEM, type of parts for the vehicle that you are repairing, making you feel a lot better. And usually, guys, when I'm doing these type of repairs, and you could see this through some of my videos, it's like, I need this now, now I need an airbag, now I need like a little clip, now I need like a little tie down, now I need like a seat belt. I actually got to get a seat belt for this, got to get an airbag. All these parts, they really add up. And this particular car here, I wanted to fix it up by actually buying another car, but I didn't do that. I did actually, however, did the opposite, and I bought all my parts at LKQ, saved quite a bit of money on them. But still, ultimately, when I started putting everything together, I'm kind of thinking, you know what? I could have bought a whole car for that. This particular car here, I bought for $900, plus auction fees, all the taxes, and then the delivery fees, pretty much made me spend about $1,400 for this car. So ultimately, that's exactly the example that I'm telling you, and I could have just spent an extra $1,500, and I would have had everything that I wanted, including another spare engine, possibly a V8. This is actually a 3.5 liter engine here, which is the most desirable in this Chrysler 300 here, but it's not a Hemi. Technically, I don't need a Hemi, but I could have had one let's say if I would have actually bought the Hemi type of vehicle. Also, the bumper that I got for this car, it's a regular standard bumper that you would have on a limited edition type of Chrysler, but a Hemi one, even at the junkyard, even at LKQ, cost a lot of money. You know, if you're gonna, you know, get the standard type of price for LKQ, you're probably gonna end up paying about $250, but usually about $400 for just a bumper. So if you kind of think about it, if you would have bought a Chrysler 300 Hemi that's been smashed in the back, maybe it's been flooded, but all the front end parts are really good and everything is nice, then you could have had yourself, you know, a converted, you know, type of Hemi look, you know, if you're going for the look. And of course, if your engine's bad and you feel like going the extra mile, you could go ahead and actually upgrade the engine. But that being said, guys, you'll have so many new parts from that one car, and you don't actually have to create a junkyard in order to make money. So in this video, I do want to explain how to just take one car and straight out of your garage or storage unit, you could use either or, you could actually start making money by selling those car parts, and it will more than cover your storage unit fee, because I would just recommend getting a storage fee if you're, a storage unit. One of those, probably like a 10 by 20, is going to run you about $90 to $150 depending on your area. So you could use that to store your parts, and you could use that as kind of like a makeshift garage. That way you could actually, you know, take apart your car. But of course, a 10 by 20 is not enough room to technically do everything you need to do, but at least you will have a place to park the car inside, you know, that kind of thing. But of course, you know, as it goes for me, I actually went ahead and actually bought a commercial zone property. I have a lot of space to park all my junk cars and stuff like that. But even me, I'm a one-man show, so I only could do one car at a time. Like, I can't do like 10 cars at a time, you know what I mean? So that means the car that I'm currently working on, you know, fixing it to try to sell it, that means I have to maximize my earning potential and go ahead and actually save money on parts because I bought the whole car, and then save further money because now I'm gonna have cores for all those parts, so I could actually get the parts cheaply. Then I could choose to use those parts or sell them on eBay, or even like locally, something like Craigslist or something. And then you still got the whole car, like you could keep selling, and then you could quickly realize, you know what, it's actually... So anyways, guys, let's continue. Last conversation, I got a phone call and we got disconnected, but it's okay. I had a chance to eat a little bit, strategize a little bit, and right now I want to talk about some of the strategies, guys, when it comes to selling car parts and the prices of car parts, where to get them, how to be consistent on the car prices and everything else, and the whole strategy behind it, and if you should be looking into selling your cars on eBay or Craigslist, or perhaps, you know, Facebook or whatever. So there's several strategies at play. It all depends on what you choose and what you actually want to do. So let's talk about the strategy that I like personally for myself. When you're starting out, especially if you have a lot of cars, like I have a lot of cars like in the back, I mean more than an average person. I have like 13 cars that I'm parting out, and some stuff needs to be fixed and, you know, sold like that. So when you have that, then you have to kind of use like a different strategy. You can't list every single part, you can't remove every single part. So then you have to kind of think about it. Okay, so should I dismantle the entire car and put everything on the shelf so I could start mailing everything, or should I wait until the car actually sells, the part sells, then you go and remove it because you're thinking, you know what, I'm gonna pull the doors off, I have interior inside, dash and everything's gonna get wet. So let me make everything to actually make sense for you. So the way you're actually gonna need to approach this at first in the beginning, simple approach. You will need to start listing that entire car on Craigslist at first in the beginning. So go around, take pictures of every single car part that you have, kind of like on the outside and, you know, stuff like that, and maybe perhaps stuff that you have already removed. Take pictures of that and go ahead and actually stick this on Craigslist. So anyways, guys, the good approach is, of course, to take the pictures of every single car. Then you take those pictures, and it can be just a single picture, but you got a, you know, a single car, but you walk around the entire car and just take pictures of everything around it and make one Craigslist listing for selling car parts. If you're not a dealer, then list it as, you know, somebody like, you know, like a personal type of sales. You do know what I mean by that. So basically listed under that, go ahead and put a price on there. I mean, you could put pretty much $1. You could put, I would not put $1. If your parts are not $1, don't even put $1. It doesn't make any sense. I would say at least put like $2.50, because generally your parts are going to be worth at least $250, and that's what you want to put on there, because you don't want to really not attract the buyer, and at the same time you don't want to scare off the buyer or for them to think that you're dishonest. Because after all, if you start in a car part business and instead of just like having like a little side hustle, eventually this will turn into something much more bigger, and then you're gonna quickly realize you're like you know what, I'm working at Walmart for $60 a day, but I just sold this car part right here for $300. How many of these can I sell in a single day, or can I at least sell one per day? And then you're starting to think, wait a minute, if I sold a $300 part today, that's how much money I made at Walmart for the whole week. And I'm just using Walmart for an example, right? So not only that, like, this is pretty much a business type of income. So that means when you do your taxes, you will have business deductions and stuff like that, which means you will pay less taxes as well. And nobody's taking out taxes out of your paycheck. But as a business, you could also charge tax. Especially if you open up officially and everything like that, you could charge taxes to your customers, because after all, you're gonna end up paying tax. And I actually have a strategy behind that. So I personally don't charge tax, okay? But when somebody calls me up and they're like, after I already priced out the part right, and I know either the same price that's locally, which I will talk about in a minute, how you set the local price, and for the Craigslist. So I already know my price is the right price. Maybe it's $5 cheaper. But then somebody calls up and they're like, hey, can you give me a discount? And I say, yeah, I could give you a discount. So this part over here costs $100, right? I'm not gonna charge you tax on it. How about that? So that's gonna save you about $10. But you know what? I'm not charging tax either way. I can. I should, I could. I would. But I choose to actually have that as a discount to the customer. This is not a way to cheat or lie. I just choose to give them that discount, not to charge it, because you're gonna go to LKQ, you're gonna go to any junkyard, they're gonna charge you tax. As a matter of fact, they're gonna charge you other things besides taxes. I mean, look at all these other fees. One of these days I'm gonna make a video and I'm gonna show you all of the other fees that junkyards put in. It's kind of like all these hidden fees. So that's another thing that I could say to my customer, okay, I'm not gonna charge you tax, I'm not gonna charge you, layaway fees, I'm just saying, I'm not gonna charge you removal fees or storage, stuff like that. There's always hidden fees and everything, So as I'm not charging for those things, then they could see, the customer can see, okay, this is the real deal. I'm dealing with, a used car parts, sales store or a salvage yard, whatever, and they're gonna know you're serious. It's like you got a store. I mean, you got an operation, and you have your own prices set. Of course, I then could maybe mark the part down an additional $5, or maybe you want to mark it down by a percentage. But if it's like $150 part, I might say, you know what, you're a good person or whatever. I'm in a good mood. I'm gonna give you another $5 off. Besides not charging tax. So this actually means, in a way, that I only discounted $5 technically, because when people are buying from like Craigslist and stuff like that, they're not really expecting to pay tax. But when I tell them that they're not paying tax, that means they're saving that money. Plus, I just gave them an additional $5 off. That seems a pretty good deal. Plus, my part was listed right to actually qualify for for the part to be sold at the appropriate price. Now, you also got to study your market a little bit. So let me tell you this, okay? I got some Nissan Rogue parts for sale. I have 2 Nissan Rogues. Well, I called my local LKQ, and I know they're the cheapest, but there's 2 LKQ prices, which is actually going to be an important topic in this video, which I want to touch upon, okay? Which is very, very important. There's, of course, a pick-apart price. When you come in there to LKQ and you pick apart yourself, Well, your labor, you charge your own time. Maybe you're a mechanic, you charge per hour. You gotta pull an engine from that thing. If that was a customer, maybe you charge them $1,000. Well, if you're pulling it yourself, you don't have to pay yourself the $1,000, but you just wasted your own time, maybe a whole day, pulling that engine or whatever, or any other part. Therefore, at any pick apart junkyard, you save because you picked apart yourself. But when a client comes to your house and he wants to buy a fender, if he wants to buy whatever, a starter, a hood, that part's already been removed. There's been labor in that. So then you have to charge a higher price, the standard price, not the regular pick apart price, because you get the price because you picked apart yourself. And you might be asking yourself, well, what's holding that customer back from going to LKQ and picking apart instead of, buying it from you? Because he could just go save, because it's not a big deal, you could go pick apart. Well, that's why you have to study your market as well. You have to make sure you're on top of things. So by me having a couple Nissan Rogues for sale, I wanted to know my competition. My competition would be LKQ because they got low prices. So I called up LKQ. I'm like, hey, do you have a Nissan Rogue? Yes, we do. How many do you have? We have one. I'm like, one. That's it, one. So I'm thinking, no wonder the doors cost like $400, and you got like bumpers that cost like $350, and whatever. The prices are very expensive for Nissan Rogues, and a lot of clients, they really don't like that, but they have no choice but to actually buy it, like a customer did for me today. I gave him a very good price on a headlight that was slightly damaged, and I was upfront with him before he came over, and I said, listen, this thing is still damaged, do you still want it? He didn't respond. So once he showed up, he's been driving for 3 hours just to get to me to get the part at that price. And I failed to do the research because this kind of happened late at night, and I know the basic prices on eBay, but I failed to do some research for local junkyards. So on eBay you could pick up that headlight about $80, and I knew that. So I said to him, $80. But that's an eBay strategy. This is not eBay. eBay, you have to wait for the part. Chances are you have to pay for shipping. But he looked me up on Craigslist. Therefore, he looked up Craigslist. He looked up a junkyard. He looked up somebody next to him. He could not find any headlight cheaper than $60. So he asked me, can you sell to me for $60? Yes, I can. But you know what? When I called LKQ, I see rated headlight is $118. And, well, guess what? He probably knows that. So I asked him, I said, listen, what kind of condition your headlight is? This is C. And I'm like, what does the C mean? It's slightly damaged, scratched, it got cracks in it, stuff like that. Could be like sun damage and stuff like that. So mine was actually really clear. And all it was, it's just a little thing where, you put the bolt in to hold it. Everything else was good, so the light is actually not gonna like vibrate and break off, and everything's still attachable. It's just, and cosmetically you can't see it. That part is under the hood, but maybe somebody cares, And so initially, when I've seen the damage myself, when I started pulling the headlight, I'm like, no, I'm gonna have to discount it more, like maybe like $50. And I really don't want to do that, but I want to make the money too. I want to, there's a customer for that light that same day. That means money in my pocket. But when I done my research, guys, I knew a damaged headlight goes for like $118. So at $60, it's a deal. It's a steal to that guy. You just say it's $60. So I told him this. I said, listen, it's damaged. $60. Take it or leave it. Damaged ones go for like $118. He took it, no questions asked. As a matter of fact, he didn't complain. He looked at it, did this little, disappointment on his face, but he knew he's not gonna find it no other price, And he's a cheap customer too, a cheap one. He had damaged fender. He had a damaged damaged hood. And he had a damaged bumper. I said, listen, I got a hood, I got a fender, I got a bumper. He's like, but your prices though. I'm like, oh, what's wrong with my prices? This is OEM parts. He's like, I buy at Certifit, and I know Certifit sells, pretty cheap parts, but the Taiwan parts. I'm like, listen, my parts are painted, they're gray like your car. You're still gonna have to paint them, you know, you're gonna have to pay somebody to paint your car for you. Like, he's like, yeah, I know, but it's a wrong shade of gray. You know, stuff like that. Excuses. But here's the thing, that's a cheap customer, and he was willing to pay 60 bucks for a headlight that maybe if I've seen it broken, I would think it's not gonna be a good market for it. As a matter of fact, I got a couple more headlights that I know they're broken, and even I didn't want them. So now I'm thinking, you know what, they're worth something to somebody, so I could actually move those lights. Okay, so a local strategy that I use for marking up my parts, and why do I know these prices? Well, two ways for locally. Two ways. First of all, there's this website called car-part.com. So you go to car-part.com, it lists every single junkyard in your area. So if you look up, excuse me, if you look up any kind of part, it's going to give you pages upon pages of car parts. Every prices, their grades, phone numbers, and sometimes you need to call them. So I could clearly see that, hey, a headlight that maybe cost 80 bucks because they got it in stock, it's 350 miles away. Like, who's gonna want to drive 350 miles away? And typically these places, they don't want to ship nothing because they run a salvage yard. They want you to go up there, pick a part, or, you know, they might have it on a shelf somewhere. They just want to sell you the part. They don't want nothing to do with shipping, because that's just, I mean, how many items can you really ship in a day? Like, it's really not consistent. You have to get packing materials and all this stuff, pay shipping. You know, it's a little bit of a hassle for the junkyards. For a standard type of person like me, that would be fine. I'm a one-man show, so if I'm not doing nothing that day and something sells on eBay, then it's fine. But, so I look at my market and then who's nearest to me, and I try to have the price closest to them. So that is one way of me checking to see if I have the correct price. Now, I really cannot see it, the headlights, or the part, what kind of condition it is. So I might need to price mine a little bit higher or lower, depending on what type of condition I think my part is. Which some of my parts are like immaculate condition. Like, I mean, it looks just good. You know, you put it on and you just go. But one of the best ways, and just quickest ways, that you could just use a phone and you get the price immediately. Well, LKQ got this website for the normal type of customer, where when you can look up any type of part, anything, for any car that they have in stock, and they do free delivery, which is actually another good thing for me, because even for the normal type of prices that they had, they're still priced a little bit less than other guys out there. So I'm kind of thinking, you know what, if I'm going to need, like, let's say I have a customer coming over, he's like, you know what, I'm going to be buying your headlight, I'm going to be buying your hood, I'm going to be buying your fender, but I also need a bumper and I need a trunk, right? But I don't have those things. But I got a customer coming probably in a couple days. Well, then I could, I could look at that LKQ, and if they have it, they'll ship it to me. Let's say they might have it 300 miles away, but it's free shipping. So locally, it's not available for me to go pick it, which I would have saved some money. So if it's not available, it's fine. I could just see if it's available for the normal type of price, and then I'm gonna have to determine, can I mark this up anymore to actually make money? So then I could say to the customer, let's say if it's a hood, and I could see it that it's 150 bucks on that website, and typically that hood would be like maybe like 50 bucks if I would have went and picked it myself. So I could say to the customer, 250 for the hood, and just see, maybe he's gonna negotiate 200 bucks. I could say I could mark it up $50. So I'm gonna be seeing a customer in a couple days. It takes about a couple days of shipping. So I'm gonna say, you know what, Wednesday, I'm gonna, come over, I'm ready, whatever, you could pick up those parts. So I'm going to call LKQ, they're gonna deliver to me maybe before Wednesday, whatever. I'm just saying, like any date in the week. Let's say it's a Monday and you're gonna get it on a Wednesday. So that would be really convenient, because I could sell to that customer all of those parts that I have and all the parts that I don't have, and I didn't pick those parts, it's somebody else's labor, and they brought it straight to my door, which is actually going to be very important, and you could actually make some money that way. And also, this opens up another strategy, another opportunity for actually making money. Let's say you're somebody that lives in apartments. You don't have no storage for keeping all these parts, but you're savvy with computer and doing research, and you just found a hood for $150 that could be delivered to your apartment. Somebody's gonna bring it there, but you could sell that hood, let's say like 300 bucks, right? And you're like making $150 profit because you know that hood is worth $300. So you marketed that hood, you know, have it delivered to you, market it, sell it, but only buy it when you sold the part. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, you sell that part, you got a customer for it. That way, you just basically call up LKQ or whatever and say, you know what? I need a hood. It might be in California. Maybe it's gonna take a couple days. And you might say to your customer, you might, you know, to your client, you might say, you know what? It's in my warehouse. I'm gonna get my guys down here. But really, it's not your guys. It's not your warehouse. But that's the way you would really talk. And it's gonna seem like you're professional. You got another warehouse, you don't have it, this one, you're out of stock. So it makes you look like you're bigger all of a sudden, especially when you're starting out. It's gonna be important because that's going to be building your reputation and making you a little bit more relevant when it comes to selling car parts. So it's very important. So basically, that means you could technically study even like eBay, and you could see on eBay all the car parts that they have. And you're like, you know what? This headlight is always selling for like 500 bucks, right? And this radiator sells for like 150. And then, you know, these fenders, they sell for that. And then, you know, you're like, you look for, you know, that LKQ or whatever your local junkyard would be that delivers. And you're like, you know what? But they're selling you 2 times less expensive. And I don't have to have the car. I don't have to buy anything. All I have to do is make listings of parts that I don't have and use generic pictures. You might actually just go to like somebody's listed on eBay, take their pictures, and then, you know, because people have sometimes, you know, similar colors, get rid of their background, you know, if you're good in Photoshop. So I'm thinking if you're home and you're just on your computer, chances are, you know, if you don't have like no garage or like nothing, I mean, you should like learn Photoshop. And you take that picture, you Photoshop it, make it white background, and say to the person that, you know, whatever that they're looking, maybe the color's not gonna match or whatever, you know, whatever's in stock is gonna say, you know, so don't make like any guarantees. So that means if you sold a gray fender, but you got a red fender, you know, well, you don't guarantee no color or nothing. And I've seen those type of listings on eBay. So this strategy would work for eBay, and even it would work for Craigslist. It would work for eBay a little bit, I think, a little bit better, but not necessarily better. It's just, you see, with eBay, they expect you to ship the part anyways. So you could technically charge for shipping. That part sells. Maybe you see somebody bidding on it if you put an auction type, and then you go ahead and actually get that part to your house. You know, you see it sold, you got the money, go ahead and actually get them to deliver it to your door, and then you ship it to that person. And maybe you're even more savvy than that, and you get LKQ to ship it free for you to whatever it's going. But I haven't really checked out that realm of possibilities, but I'm pretty sure it's not outside of the realm of possibilities. I'm pretty sure there's junkyards that will ship it to any address, whatever, you know, that you have. So that means technically you could offer free shipping to the customer, or you could charge them for shipping. Doesn't really matter. But whatever place you're buying that part from will ship it for you at their cost. If they offer free shipping. So there's so many ways of making money in car part business, like your head is gonna explode. You know, in this video, I'm just telling you like some of the strategies that you could be using, and I'm gonna like list one, and it might sound really similar because it is, but I wanna make sure that you really understand this type of strategy. But you know, guys, for more strategies, subscribe to my channel. And please like this video so more people could find this type of information, because if I have more people watching, then I'm gonna feel a little bit more inclined to share this information with you guys. Because, you know, I don't like to hold this stuff back to me. I want somebody else out there, maybe you just graduated high school, or maybe you're lost your job and you're just trying to make money for your family, and I understand that, you know, and I wanna give that ability for you to be able to learn and actually do something where a lot of times it doesn't cost you anything, but like if you have a property and you could put a car, I mean, that just like really just makes things less complicated, because you could go to the auction, pick up a car at the auction, get it, you know, down to your house, buy 2 cars. I mean, you start with one. I mean, if you're trying to fix a car to sell, then you're gonna need to buy 2 cars. So this strategy is going to work like this. I mean, you do have a place to fix your car, so you have to take that into account. Maybe you have a shop, maybe you have a garage. Storage is probably not going to work for this. So you're going to need somewhere where you can actually be working on this car. Maybe even like a shop that's working for you. I mean, if you're paying somebody and you feel that it's worth it, that could happen. Perhaps maybe you could ask them, can I send you the parts car so you could go ahead and remove what you need? Chances are they might say yes. So maybe in this case, not only that, you're gonna have somebody fixing the car for you because you don't have a shop, and you kind of know for the price that they're gonna fix it, the market value is still going to be above what you're gonna end up spending, you know, for the actual repairs and everything, you know, all the parts in general. The main thing, guys, the main key is to save in parts. I mean, labor is something negotiable. You can just negotiate with your client. I mean, whoever's fixing your body shop, you could negotiate with them on the price that's going to be fair, and it's going to provide him a little bit more constant work. Maybe it's a local body shop guy that's just starting out. He's got reasonable prices because he's trying to build his clientele, he's trying to build his customers. So try to get with that guy and network with him. Bring him the car, let him fix it if you don't want to fix it yourself, and if you don't have any body work skills. So you're gonna have him fix the car for you. So you will buy him, not him, it's your car, but you will buy another car like that with all the parts, send it to his address, whatever that is, if it's his shop or the house, whatever. So he's going to be taking all those parts off while you are strategizing. You took all the pictures of the car parts that's available for sale, and you made Craigslist listings, you made eBay listings, and they're for sale. So ultimately what this will end up doing is, not only that you got free parts, but the car that you have extra and you sold all those car parts will pay for the body work that's being done to your car, which means your time is free, your parts are free, and chances are you're gonna sell a lot more money in those parts that you actually make a profit from that. But then you take this car that the guy just fixed for you and you sell that car. So now you just made, you know, all your money back. Like you made all the money back and all the expenses. So the second car actually paid for everything. It paid for the car, it paid for the car parts, it paid for your body man. So, man, guys, there's like so many strategies and ways of doing it. I'm sure everybody does a different way. I try to do the least amount of work and make the most amount of money, the least amount of time invested, and get the most out of it, because I actually want to have a life, you know? So the last strategy that I'm going to tell you in this video, this is the one that's actually similar to everything else. So here's what you're going to want to do. When you bought a car for parts, okay, or maybe that was the car that was left over from your, you know, body work or whatever. So when you have that car, I recommend go ahead and disassemble the entire car. So if you could disassemble it in the entire day, that's fine. I mean, you know, you work really fast. But let's say you don't. You just, today you've removed, you know, 4 doors, a trunk and a hood, and, you know, a couple of fenders, you know, headlights, grill, stuff like that. So, you know, stuff that you will remove in the very, very beginning. So you go ahead and actually take pictures of all those parts that you have removed, and you list those car parts on Craigslist or eBay, whatever works for you. I recommend listing them at both places, because, I mean, the more places you list it, the higher chances of selling those car parts. So the main question always is, where can I get the proper price? How do I price the part correctly? So of course, I already mentioned earlier that you could compare it to car-part.com, but I actually find it much easier for me and a little bit more consistent and probably better overall to price your parts according to LKQ, the normal, you know, they sell these parts to businesses, body shops, so you could create an account with them and they'll work with you if you have an account. So that's, I guess, one of the downsides. You have to have an account, then they will deliver to you, like to a business, you know, which I have a business, so for me that works just fine. So, but anyways, in this case, you don't really need nothing delivered. All you do need is their tools. So you go to their website and you search for the car parts that you have, and here's the cool part. You will learn the names of these car parts, because you might not know the names of them, but you're like, okay, this is, you know, let's say you're starting out, you're like, you know, this is a door. So how much a door would be? But then you get in to look up the door, and you're like, you know what? A door shell is one price, let's say like 200 bucks, the window is 100 bucks, the window regulator is like 50, 70 bucks, then you're gonna have the door actuators, then you're gonna have the door handle, then you're gonna have the electronic, window stuff, and then you're gonna have like the actual, face of the door, that part. And if it's a front door, chances are you might have a speaker in there, chances are you're gonna have a mirror. I mean, you could sell all those parts separately and make so much more money. Like that single door, if you would have sold it for like 250 bucks, I mean, the whole complete thing, you would have maybe been happy. But you could like nickel and dime that door and you could really get all the profit out of it. So here's what I would do with the door. I would list the door shell and the door glass for local pickup, even if it's an eBay listing. I really don't want to mail those things. I want the customer to come over and get that stuff themselves and have to, deal with, I don't have to deal with big items shipping. So small parts like window regulators, door actuators, door handles, mirrors. That's the type of stuff you want to list on eBay. That's an eBay strategy. Big parts, Craigslist strategy. I mean, you could list them on eBay, but do like a local pickup. I mean, that's just like less hassle because learning shipping is a whole another ball game. I am still learning because a lot of people, they're offering free shipping, okay? But everybody's paying different price for shipping, and it's different prices depending on where it's going. So if it's going 3,000 miles away, it is going to be a higher price than it's going like 300 miles away. I mean, that's only common sense. If the item weighs a lot, you're gonna pay a lot in shipping. So I don't see how it makes any sense if you sold a door for 150 to pay like $100 shipping. You know what I mean? I mean, chances are you still have to pay for the door, and what do you really make it? So that's not really a problem for me. I might as well just let the customer pick it up, let them deal with it, and I charge for shipping. I don't offer free shipping. I always charge for shipping, and if somebody really needs that, they will still get it. Chances are, it might not be available locally at their junkyard. It might not be available anywhere for them. So they have no choice but to go to eBay and buy the next best thing. But as far as for eBay shipping, I recommend small items. Small, light items. You really don't want to have to, go that big. In cars, you have plenty of small stuff. And like what I recommend is having like some kind of garage, some kind of storage with shelving. For this, even a storage would work, like a storage unit, and just put like nice shelving in there. And when you dismantle in your car, I hope you have like a pickup truck or whatever, go ahead and dismantle everything and go ahead and, if you live in apartments or whatever, and you don't have a garage at home, so then you have no choice but to rent a storage unit, which would still be okay. And go ahead and actually drive to the storage unit, put everything inside, make sure you take pictures at the storage unit or maybe when you remove the parts, and then go home, start listing all of those parts, and you get the prices for local LKQ if you're going to be selling locally. But even if you're selling online, chances are that price is going to be pretty good. But if you're selling on eBay, okay, you're gonna want to compare to other sellers for that same part, because let's say it's a door and LKQ sells it for like $250. Well, it might be 400 bucks on eBay. Just saying. So even like with the local pickup, well, even if you ship it, you're gonna still make a whole lot more money. So you gotta always make sure you price your parts right. But pricing it a little bit less than eBay locally to be comparable with, junkyard like LKQ, for instance, it makes sense to list, local prices, obviously, because nobody's going to buy it from you if you have eBay prices, but you're selling it locally. I mean, they could just go to eBay for that, So, I mean, if they are, in a hurry and they want that part right now, of course they'll get it. But if your product is cheaper than eBay and it's about the same price as the junkyard, you got a 50-50 chance of them getting it from you or them. So pricing just a little bit below will pretty much guarantee the sale to you. And surprisingly, guys, people, when they find my parts, man, like I live in South Carolina, they're from North Carolina, they're from Georgia, Tennessee, Virginia. So I am selling the part local, but the guy does not live local that comes over to buy my stuff. And that's something you have to take into account. If he's driving this far to pick up the part, he really needs that part. He can't find a better price. So when he shows up, whatever price you're gonna give him, that's what he's gonna take. But anyways, guys, this is a long-winded video. I probably should do it in several different parts. But I hope you guys subscribe to my channel and let's learn together. I will be sharing my tips and tricks with you guys as I go along. I'm also going to be taking you guys on the journey of picking parts. I'm going to show you how to remove them. I'm going to show you what kind of tools you're going to need. And we will talk more about like my setup and show you like how do I inventory parts, how do I keep them on the shelves, because I think it's important. You might want to find out this kind of stuff. Should I keep this part outside? Should I keep it inside? You know, everybody's situation is different. So I could show you my setup and how I'm doing it. It's working out for me. Maybe it's not going to work out for you, but chances are it will, because I mean, why not? It's working for me. Like, why should it not work for you, right? So anyways, guys, if you like this type of video, please hit a like and make sure subscribe and share this video with your friends, guys. And let's be friends. Let's build a community here on this channel of like-minded individuals that want to flip cars, sell parts, and live happily ever after. Well, anyways, guys, thank you for watching. Take care of yourself and God bless you. And good luck with your parts business or your salvage cars business. Bye-bye.
My name is Serge Zimaleta. I'm 37 years old. And yes, I experienced success after buying my first home for cash. Back in 2011, I was broke, but I learned to solve problems on my own. Now I'm helping others to solve their problems. I know what pitfalls to avoid to stay profitable in business. Need motivation to be more successful in your life? Do you have Sprint or Expedite or business problems? Then subscribe. Let's find creative solutions to your problems. Hit the bell notification so you don't miss any of my helpful videos.